Have you ever wondered what it would be like to step foot on the red planet? To explore its barren landscape, its towering mountains, and its deep valleys? It's a dream that's captured the imaginations of scientists, adventurers, and dreamers for generations. And now, with the likes of Elon Musk leading the charge, it seems that the dream of sending humans to Mars is finally within reach. But what if there's more to the story? What if there are secrets that Elon Musk isn't telling us about going to Mars? What if the challenges of making Mars habitable for human life are even greater than we realize? And what if, despite our best efforts, we might not make it to the red planet at all? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the realities of going to Mars, the challenges that lie ahead, and the potential roadblocks that could prevent us from ever setting foot on its surface. So get ready as we explore what Elon Musk isn't telling us about going to Mars and why we might not make it after all. And if you're as fascinated as we are by the prospect of exploring the final frontier, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to join us on this exciting journey of discovery. Elon Musk has grand plans to make Mars habitable for humans, but what he isn't telling us is that it's not going to be easy. The first step to colonizing the red planet is terraforming, which is the process of artificially changing the climate and surface of Mars to make it more Earth-like. Musk's answer to this daunting task is simple: nuclear missiles. Yep, you heard that right. Musk plans on blasting both poles with pulsating nuclear weapons to warm the planet and produce an Earth-like atmosphere. But is it really that simple? It's no surprise that Musk's radical solution has been met with skepticism and even outrage. Critics have labeled him a supervillain, while others have sarcastically suggested that he should just try blowing up the moon first. But what about the practicalities of Musk's plan? Despite Musk's reassurances that the radiation wouldn't be an issue, since the explosion would be in space over the poles and not on the planet itself, leading scientists like Dr. Veronica Silva argue that it's not very realistic. According to Dr. Silva, Mars simply doesn't have enough dioxide in its polar caps to make the planet habitable. Even if 100% of it was released, the Martian atmosphere would be many times less thick than Earth's, and temperatures wouldn't rise sufficiently. In other words, Musk's vision of making humanity a multiplanetary species may not be realized just yet, or at least not within the estimated timeframe. There are several challenges and potential problems with Elon Musk's plan to terraform Mars using nuclear weapons. One of the most significant issues is the safety and environmental impact of nuclear explosions. Even though the explosions would take place in space over the poles, they would still release significant amounts of radiation into the Martian environment, which could be harmful to any life forms that might exist on Mars, including future human colonies. Another issue is the practicality of the plan. While Musk's idea of using nuclear explosions to warm the planet might seem like a quick and easy solution, it's not a scientifically proven method of terraforming. In fact, some experts argue that the amount of carbon dioxide trapped in the Martian polar caps is simply not enough to significantly change the planet's atmosphere and make it more habitable for human life. Other more proven methods, such as importing massive amounts of greenhouse gases, would require much more time and resources to implement. Moreover, the idea of using nuclear weapons in space raises significant ethical and political concerns. Musk's plan has been criticized by some for perpetuating the idea of space as a new frontier for human colonization, and for potentially sparking a new arms race in space. Fortunately, there's another safer and more feasible method that's been suggested by researchers from Harvard University, NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, and the University of Edinburgh. They propose a more targeted approach that involves identifying regions of the planet that are made with a habitable material called silica aerogel. This approach would mimic the greenhouse effect on Earth's atmosphere and warm up the planet gradually. Robin Wordsworth, an assistant professor at SEAS, said that this regional approach to making Mars habitable is much more achievable than global atomic modification. Although this approach may take decades to show results, it's clear that scientists support this method more than any other. The idea of humans living on Mars is no longer a figment of our imagination, but a real possibility. However, it will take a lot of effort, time and planning to make this happen. As of now, it's still undecided how these top leading organizations will go about terraforming Mars. But one thing is certain, it'll be an exciting journey filled with groundbreaking discoveries, scientific achievements, and new possibilities. While the silica aerogel method is considered safer and more feasible than global atomic modification or nuclear weapons, it does have some drawbacks. First, this approach is slower and will take decades to see any results. This means that humans may not see the full effects of this method in their lifetime, and it requires long-term planning and commitment. Second, the use of silica aerogel requires a massive amount of the material to be transported to Mars. This would be a significant logistical challenge and would require a considerable amount of resources. Third, the cost of this method is still unknown. While it may be less expensive than other methods, it still requires a significant investment in research, development, and implementation. Fourth, the potential environmental impacts of introducing large quantities of silica aerogel to Mars are also not fully understood. It's unclear how this material will interact with the Martian environment and if there will be any unintended consequences. So the real question is it worth the trouble? Imagine a world where humans can explore the vastness of space and colonize new planets. It may be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe and ensuring our survival as a species. Only time will tell if this dream will become a reality, but one thing is certain, the journey will be an exhilarating and unforgettable one. As we dream of making Mars a habitable planet, the idea of spending over $15 trillion, not even including the cost of rockets, can be daunting. And let's not forget the pressing question, is it even logical to focus on terraforming another planet when we have yet to take care of our own? But even before we get into the cost and ethical dilemmas, let's talk about the potential danger of traveling to Mars. It turns out that a trip to the red planet could kill you before you even set foot on its surface. Here are just a few ways this could happen. Firstly, the rocket that takes you to Mars could blow up before it even leaves Earth. As grim as it may sound, this has already happened before. For example, let's look at the years 1981 to 2011, when NASA launched its space shuttle program. Out of the 833 passengers, 14 people tragically passed away in explosions. These were high-profile accidents, including the Challenger and Columbia disasters. And that's just one potential hazard. The journey to Mars takes about 7 months, and during that time, astronauts face a host of other dangers. Cosmic radiation, which is harmful to human health, is much more intense outside of Earth's prospective magnetic field. Astronauts also face the risk of developing blood clots, muscle loss, and weakened immune systems due to microgravity. So before we can even begin to make Mars habitable, we must first address the issue of getting there safely. And once we do arrive, we'll need to overcome other significant challenges, like the planet's harsh climate, lack of a magnetic field, and thin atmosphere. But if we can overcome these hurdles, the possibility of humans living on Mars becomes not just a figment of our imagination, but a real possibility. Now, let's take a look at the 5 reasons why a trip to Mars could be dangerous. Firstly, the fatality rate of an explosion is 1.6, which is higher than climbing Mount Everest. Even though Elon Musk and his team are doing everything they can to ensure the rockets exceed safety expectations, the truth is that most smaller Falcon 9 rockets have either exploded on their launch pad or mid-flight. While engineers and scientists have been working tirelessly to prevent this from happening again, it's unlikely the risk will ever be zero. Secondly, once you're out of Earth's atmosphere, you're exposed to high levels of ionizing radiation, which can be pretty harmful to your health if you're not properly protected. During a solar particle event, for instance, the sun releases a stream of charged particles that could cause some serious health problems. Galactic cosmic rays are also high-energy particles that can penetrate deep into your body and cause damage to your cells. Lastly, there are Van Allen belts, which are areas of high radiation surrounding Earth. While you're protected from these harmful rays while on Earth, you're not so lucky once you leave our atmosphere. Thirdly, you could literally crash while trying to land on Mars. Imagine traveling for 6 months, only to die on landing. The spaceship is traveling at 62,000 miles per hour, and the fact that Mars' atmosphere is way thinner than Earth's doesn't help, as there is less friction to slow down the spaceship. NASA is already having a difficult time landing small robots on Mars' surface, so imagine how much of a struggle it would be to land an entire rocket ship on Mars safely. Fourthly, let's say you do land on Mars and make it alive, but there's still a chance you could die from leakage. The first 100 humans to land on Mars should be prepared because there won't be any resources of food, water, and oxygen. Lastly, accidents happen. Even if you're the most skilled and experienced astronaut, things could still go wrong. The best thing you could do is buckle up and be prepared for the worst. So before you start packing your bags, remember that a trip to Mars is not for the faint of heart. While it would be an incredible adventure, it's also incredibly risky. So, what do you think are the most important factors to consider before embarking on a mission to colonize Mars? Share with us in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, show us some love by hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below. Also, if you're a fan of all things technology, be sure to check out this other video we've got lined up for you. It's packed with all the latest news, tips, and tricks to keep you ahead of the curve.